Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. We start today's Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Krutam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Jayam Udiret Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam. Today we Srimad Canto 11 Srimad Bhagwatam. We second part start chapter 13. The Hounds Avtara answers question. Shloka from 1 to 8. Sri Bhagavana Uvacha. One minute. Sri Bhagavana Uvacha. सत्वं रजहतम इति गुणा बुद्धेन च आत्मनः सत्वेन अन्यतमो हन्यात् सत्वं सत्वेन च एव हि सत्वात् धर्म भवेत् वृद्धात् पुंसा मद्भक्ति लक्षणः सात्विक उपासया सत्वं ततः धर्म प्रवर्तते. धर्म रजतम हन्यत्व वृद्धि ही अनुत्तम आशो नश्यति तत्मूलः हि अधर्म उभयते आगम अपप्रजादेशः काल कर्म च जन्म च ध्यानं मंत्र अथ संस्कार दश एते गुण हेतवः. तत् सात्विकम एव एषां यद् यत् वृद्धः प्रक्षते निन्दन्ति तामसं तत् राजसं तत् उपेक्षितं सात्विकान् सेवेत पुमान् सत्त्वविमे ततः धर्म ततः ज्ञान यावत् स्मृति अपोहनम्. वेणु संघर्ष च वन्नी दग्ध्वा शाम्यति तत्त्वनम् एवं गुण व्यत्ययज देह शाम्यति तत्क्रिया. श्री उद्धव उवाच विदन्ति मर्त्या प्रायेण विषयान् पदम् अपदां भुञ्जते कृष्ण तत् खर अजवत्. पठवत श्रीला प्रभुपद जगत की जय. The supreme personality of God, the three modes of material nature, namely and ignorance, or intelligence, and not to the spirits. By development of material goodness, one can conquer passion and by cultivation of transcendent, one may free oneself even from goodness. When the living entity becomes fully situated in the mode of goodness, religious principles characterized devotional service to become prominent. One can strengthen the mode of good by cultivation of those things already situated in goodness, and religious principles arise. Principles strengthened by the mode of good destroy the affliction and ignorance. When passion and ignorance are over their origin, irreligion is quick and vicious. According to the of religious scriptures, water, one's association with one's children, with people in general, the time activities, birth, chanting of mantras, and rituals the modes of nature differently prominent. Among the 10 times I have suggested the great sages understand Vedic knowledge have praised, recommended those that are in the mode of criticized and rejected those in the mode of ignorance and shown indifference to those in the mode of passion until one revives one's direct knowledge of the spirit soul and drives away the illusory identification with the material body and mind caused by the nature. One must cultivate those things by increasing the mode of goodness. One automatically can understand and practice religious principles, and by such practice, transcendental knowledge is awakened. In a wind, some the bamboo stalks together, and such friction of uh, blazing fire consumes the very source of its birth. The bamboo, thus the fire is automatically calm its own. Similarly, by the competition and interaction, real modes of nature, the subtle and bodies are generated. If one uses his mind and body to cultivate knowledge, such enlightenment destroys the modes of nature that generate one's body. Thus, like the fire, mind are pacified their own actions in destroying source of their birth. Sri Uddhava, my dear Krishna, generally human beings know that material life brings great future unhappiness and they try to enjoy. My dear, how can one in knowledge act just like an ass or a goat? Purport by Sri Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Goodness is in the material never exists in a pure form. Therefore, it is common knowledge that material platform, no one is working without motivation. In the material world, goodness is always mixed with some emotion and ignorance, whereas spiritual goodness, Vishuddha Sattva, present the liberated platform of purpose. Materially, one is an honest, compassionate man, but unless one is fully Krishna conscious, one will that are not ultimately good, and one will give mercy that is because the onward march of material time situation and persons from the stage our so-called mercy and truth apply to situations that shortly will not exist. Real truth eternal and real to situate eternal truth. Still, for an ordinary person, cultivation, material goodness may be a preliminary on the road to Krishna consciousness. For example, state in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagwatam that one who is addicted to meditating cannot understand the pastimes of Lord Krishna. By cultivation of the material mode of goodness, however, one may become a vegetarian and perhaps appreciate the sublime process of Krishna consciousness, since it is clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita, the material modes of nature constantly rotate, must take advantage of an elevated position, material goodness, to step on to the otherwise, as the time turns, one will again go to the darkness of ignorance. Since the three modes of material constantly in conflict. Next, still, for an ordinary person, cultivation of material goodness may be stage on the road to consciousness. For example, it is stated in the next.
You are mute, Mataji. You are mute. आप म्यूट है.
Thus,
Please
by
read from
choosing
beginning. Please read from beginning. You were mute.
attitudes, since the moderate nature constantly in varying supremacy. So is it that the mode of can subdue the modes of passion and ignorance? Lord Krishna here explains how one can be strong, fixed in the mode of goodness, which automatically gives rise to religious principles. The 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna elaborately explains the things that are in goodness, passion, and ignorance. The by choosing food, attitudes, work, etc. strictly in the mode of goodness, one will be created in that mode. The Sattva Guna or the mode of goodness is that it produces religious principle aimed at and characterized by devotional service to Lord Krishna. Without such devotional service to the Lord, the mode of goodness is considered useless and merely another aspect of material illusion. The word Urudhat or Dand indicates clearly that one should come to the platform of or purified goodness. The word indicates growth or growth until full maturity. The full maturity of goodness, the sattva or the transit on which there is no of any other quality. In pure goodness, all knowledge automatically manifests, and one can easily understand one's eternal with Lord Krishna. That is the actual meaning and purpose of dharma or religious principle. Srila Madhvacharya points out in this regard that an increase in the mode of goodness, religious principles, and the invigorated execution of religious, the mode of goodness. In that way, one can advance higher in the mode of spiritual happiness. The 10 possess super inferior qualities and are thus as being in goodness and ignorance. One can increase the by selecting religious in goodness, pure water, friendship, other persons in good, and so on. Scrupulously avoid any of these 10 items that may be polluted by an inferior mode of nature. One who desires to the mode of goodness must consider the following points. One should study that teach detachment from mental speculation and material sense gratification are not scriptures that provide rituals and mantras to increase material ignorance. Such materialistic scripture do not give attention to the supreme personality of Godhead and thus are basically atheistic. One should accept pure water for quenching thirst and cleaning the body. There is no need for a devotee to use maize, perfume, etc., which are all manifestation of water. One associate with the persons who are cultivating detachment and not with those who are materialistic or sinful in their behavior. One should live in a solitary place where devotional service is practiced and discussed among Vaishnavas. Uh, Spontaneously attracted to busy shopping centers, sports stadiums, concerning rise by 4 o'clock in the morning and utilize the auspicious Brahmata to advance in Krishna consciousness. Similarly, one should avoid the sinful influence of hours such as midnight, when ghosts and demons are encouraged to become active. Concerning work, one should execute one's prescribed duties, follow the regulative principles of spiritual life, and utilize all of one's energy for pious purpose. Uh, Time should not be wasted in frivolous or materialistic activities, of which there are now literally millions in modern society. One can cultivate birth in the mode of goodness by accepting birth of initiation from a bonus and learning to chant the Hare Krishna mantras. One should not accept uh, initiation or so-called spiritual birth in unauthorized mystical or religious cults in the mode of passion and ignorance. One should meditate upon the supreme personality of Godhead as the enjoyer of all sacrifices. And similarly, one should meditate on the lives of great devotees and saintly persons. One should not lusty women and envious men. Concerning mantras, one should follow the examples of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and not other songs, verses, poetry, or modify the kingdom of illusion. Precatory rituals should not be performed to purify the spiritual soul and not to bring down material blessings on one material household. One who increases the mode of goodness will certainly become fixed in religious principles and automatically knowledge will arise. As knowledge increases, one is able to understand the eternal spirit soul and the supreme soul, Lord Krishna. Thus, the soul becomes free from artificial imposition of the gross and material bodies caused by the modes of material bonds to assess the material designations that cover the living entity and one's real eternal life begins. The word good is significant. Veteya is significant in this verse. Veteya indicates change in inversion in the normal order of things. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, the concept of synonym, which indicates inequality, proportion, diversity. Thus, it is understood by the terms that the body is rated by the unstable relationship of the three modes of material which exist everywhere in constantly changing proportion. There is constant strip among the modes of nature. A good person is sometimes patient and a passionate person sometimes to give up, sometimes want to give up everything and rest. An ignorant person may sometimes disgust with his depraved life, and a passionate person may indulge in bad habits in the of ignorance. Due to the interactive conflict of the modes of nature, one wanders throughout material nature, creating one body after by one's own work, karma. As it is said in the mother of enjoyment, of material bodies gives hope to the souls that by changing the real situation, their unhappiness and frustration can be turned into happiness and satisfaction. But even in relative material happiness, that will soon be disturbed by the inevitable flux of the material modes. Measurement in the material world are ceremony and false prestige, all of which are obtained with great suffering and eventually lost. One is in material life suffers in the present very black brick future to look up forward to in the continuing cycle of birth and death. Thus, how can human beings who have seen these things and know them very well continue to enjoy life like dogs, asses, and goats? Often, a dog will approach a beach of for sex, but a deaf dog may attracted and do her teeth snarl, and poor dog with serious injury goes about his busy trying to get a little sex. Similarly, many items a dog risks being bitten or shot food in a place where he knows he should not go. He is very attracted to the she ass, but the lady ass often kicks him in the. Similarly, the ass's master gives the ass a handful of grass, which the poor ass could get anywhere, and then burdens him with great loads. The goat is generally raised for slaughter, and even when the goat to the slaughterhouse, he shamelessly goes after the lady goat to get sex pleasure. In the short, beaten, beaten and slaughtered, and he persists in the sense certification. How can an educated human being commit himself to such a condemned way of life, wherein the result is practically the same as that of the animals? If by cultivating the mode of goodness, one's life is filled with happiness, enlightenment, and future rewards, why should anyone cultivate the mode of passion and ignorance? This is Uddhava's question. Thus end the purport. Now prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Janashalakaya Chakshurunmilena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sapitamena Bhutale Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guroho Sri Yuttapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitancha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvish शून्यवादी पाश्चात देशतारिणे वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभे च कृपा सिन्धुभे एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण हरे हरे, राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा. Now today start Srimad Bhagwatam Canto 11 chapter 13. The Hansa Avatara answers the question of the son of Brahma. In this chapter, the Lord Krishna explains to Uddhava about how human beings overwhelmed by sense gratification. They're giving so many examples as goat, as dog. All these examples given, they explaining how the human being overwhelmed and become bound by the modes of nature. When we do any work, any activities that we achieve or obtain uh, uh, pious or impious, and we get punya or pap, and all we suffer in our uh, next in this life or next life, and how to renounce these modes, and how we renounce from these three modes: sattvagun, rajagun, and tamogun. The Lord then described how he appeared in his form of Hans Avtara. He answering the question of the sons of Brahmas in Hans Avtara. That story is coming in this chapter. Now, here they explaining the goodness, passion, ignorant are related to material intelligence and not to the soul. We every time remembering all three goods modes are related only material intelligence, not to the soul, and one should conquer upon we banish any mode, or we suggest thought that if we give up rajogun or tamagun or satagun, no, all these three guns are remain, but only we conquer any mode of gun, means do as a behavior as we enhance our sattva guna, and uh, then rajoguna and tamoguna living lower side, and sattva guna enhance, like that we try to do that. And here Bhagwan told these things are given in these shlokas. uh, there are 10 items mentioned, which are those are quality of religious scriptures, water, one's association with one's children, with people, the particular place, time, activity, chanting of mantras, purification rituals, the modes of nature, all different prominent are they describing in here. And then they told Uddhava, if one acquires relative, that will soon by the inevitable of the material modes. And then Uddhava told, Uddhava asked, what question ask Uddhava, the result is practically the same as that of animals. If by cultivating modes of goodness and life is filled enlightenment and future thoughts. Why anyone cultivate the modes of passion and ignorance? Which is question. Why the should anyone cultivate the modes of passion and ignorance? Only they should cultivate. But here question asking, and what of that question we will try to tomorrow. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां नमो नमः. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam. Prabhuji will tell you in detail about this. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So very wonderful discussion has started in this 11th canto, 13th chapter. So now the sons of Brahma are asking questions. So we are seeing so many questions being asked in this whole Bhagavatam. So in this chapter, now Krishna is going to explain to Uddhava how human beings, overwhelmed by sense gratification, become bound by the three modes of nature. And then how to renounce these modes. And then Krishna is going to describe how he appeared in his form of Hansa before Brahma and the four sages headed by Shanaka and revealed to them various confidential truths. So when it comes to the material desires and sense gratifications, Krishna is giving us a very wonderful example. So he's saying that according to quality of religious scriptures, one's association with one's children or with people in general, that is how the modes of nature become differently prominent. And for that, Krishna has given told about 10 items. So I'm just reiterating those 10 items because they are very important to remember. One is quality of religious scriptures, water, association with one's children or with people. Third is particular place. Fourth, the time, activities, birth, meditation, chanting of mantras, and purificatory rituals. So, Krishna is also recommending. So we need to understand it very carefully when Krishna is talking about these 10 items. And direct our knowledge to spirit soul, then only we will be able to drive away the illusory identification with body. Otherwise, we will always be caught in these three modes of nature. So how do we do it? So we do it slowly. We must cultivate all those things which are in the mode of goodness. And by increasing the mode of goodness, we can easily understand and practice the religious principles. And the moment we start practicing such principles, the transcendental knowledge is awakened. So here we see the bamboo forest example. How, because of wind, sometimes the bamboo sticks rub against each other. And because of that friction, there is fire. And the fire consumes the bamboo itself. Now just look at it. Fire is caused by whom? The bamboo. And the fire, which is a result of the bamboo, is destroying the bamboo itself. But then, after it has destroyed the bamboo forest, it is getting calmed down. So, Krishna is saying, similarly, because of competition and interaction between the three modes of material nature, the subtle and gross material bodies are generated. Now, if we use this mind and body to cultivate knowledge, then It will destroy the influence of the modes of nature that generated this body. So just like the fire, the body and mind are pacified by their own actions. And that is what Krishna is recommending us to do. Somehow ensure that we are using this mind, we are using this body to cultivate knowledge of Brahman, knowledge of the absolute truth. Because if we are able to develop that real knowledge, then automatically whatever we are suffering from will start becoming disillusioned from that illusion. Now, this was a very good statement which Maharaj had made, Swan. How to be disillusioned with illusion. And the best way to do it is to ensure that we chant the holy names. Now, in the purport, Prabhupada ji sees such a profound understanding. He is giving two more examples for us to understand how we are wasting our life. Like goat, it is raised to be slaughtered, but still it will go try to get pleasure. That is what the goat is doing. Similarly, human beings commit themselves to condemned way of life. And that is why our result is same as that of the animals. We are getting butchered by time. We are getting slaughtered by time. And we are being penalized to undergo repeated birth, old age, disease, and death. The other example Rupachi is giving is of an ass. Now he can eat grass anywhere. But then the moment that handful of grass is given, he feels, oh, the master is giving me. And then he has to carry such a big burden. We are doing the same thing. Throughout our life, whatever time duration it may be, for that momentary some pleasure, we feel, yes, there would be pleasure, there would be happiness someday. And we keep on running under the instructions of Maya, and ultimately burn out and waste this whole human existence itself. So it's a humble request, as guided by Srila Prabhupada, let us take to association. Let us keep to books reading of the scriptures. Let us continue our chanting. Let us take only Krishna Prasadam for our diet. Involve ourselves with some deity services and keep ourselves engaged in serving the devotees. That is the only way we can get out of this condemned life. Hare Krishna.